Gabby Reece, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Wodapalooza.
I know, it's amazing.
So you showed up at the perfect time. Rain.
The rain and the rain and I are moving together. First I had it in Hawaii, then I had it in California, and I have it here.
Oh wow, okay. So today's the last day of competition.
Yep.
Here. XPT is the company that is inside of the RPM booth right now. Can you tell us a little bit about XPT and what you guys are talking with other CrossFitters about?
Well, first of all, I want to thank RPM for housing us and letting us hang out in your location, because it was really great for us. But XPT sort of was born out of my husband, Laird Hamilton. He's a surfer, and I have sort of been doing this lifestyle around this training. Breathe, move, and recover was sort of the theme of XPT, which was, Laird being in surfing has always been interested in increasing oxygen capacity. Then as you start to study it, not only as an athlete, but just as a human being, how breathing, we don't do it really right, and how it's such an amazing tool that if we can learn how to use it to either down-regulate or up-regulate or recover. So we started bolting that on, and then movement, obviously we do a lot of land training, but water training, we're older athletes, and so how do I keep training at this really high level and not beat myself up so that I can train, because that sort of becomes a moment for, and I know CrossFitters experience it as well, right? You have this moment where you go, okay, wait a second, if I'm talking about the long game, how am I going to manage all of this? And keep that output high, right?
So has XPT sat down and worked with any high-level CrossFit athletes yet?
We've had quite a few come through. In fact, Yami, he's brought a few of his athletes. And it was more actually a little bit the pool, the water. And I know a lot of CrossFitters actually already use the water, implement some of the training. I wouldn't say we're further down the road, but maybe we're just a little deeper into that story in a less traditional way. So less swimming and more explosive and ballistic training. So they come and check that out, and then the heat and the ice and a little bit of the breathing.
Now, how can some of that kind of advanced training help athletes at the very elite level who are obviously trying to optimize performance? They're trying to get everything out of their workout, but then when they show up at the competition, looking for an competitive advantage. What kind of things have you seen and noticed for elite level training that could be really transformative for CrossFitters?
Well, as those athletes know, right, this much is like miles at that level. So I would say, first of all, the breathing, because you are breathing all the time, and so it's understanding what breathing is right for me, so when I'm performing, I'm keeping myself in the most recovered state, which is actually possible as an athlete. So I think for these athletes, I would always start with the breathing. Secondly, would be for them to incorporate a recovery practice. I know CrossFitters are like, wow, go,
5 workouts
I don't take
a day,
any time off.
5 minutes rest between workouts.
No, and I love you guys for that. However, I will tell you that at some point, it's a practice. And to sort of incorporate a small one, even if it's a few minutes, I know, into a recovery practice, I think in the end would help them perform better in these big moments.
Right. I mean, breathing is a key component to staying under control and keeping your composure during really intense workouts, especially on the competitive floor. But it's also, your breathing can cause you to lose a workout by not resetting yourself up for recovery in the middle of recovery moments during workouts.
Well, think about this. Your brain takes 50% of your oxygen. So if you're ramped up already, just that alone, you're spinning, burning your oxygen. So if you want to talk about lactic acid, if you want to push lactic acid further away, keep it at bay, keep your muscle tissue recovering, you can do that through breathing correctly and oxygenating the tissues and the cells. So it isn't just like, oh, breathe. There's science, there's data, there's real information based around how to use breath as a tool.
So let's talk about so athletes who are kind of unfamiliar or curious about some of this type of training. Where can they find you guys? Do you have course material online, or are you doing training seminars? Give us a little bit.
We do. So they can go to xptlife.com. But also, we do a lot. Laird and I and PJ and Mark Roberts, we do a lot of things for coaches and athletes, just sort of one-day events, whether...
Like a seminar.
Yeah, and because our whole thing is we want to share this and give this tool to a lot of people, and also watch and see how they put it in play in their own practice. I think that's the most exciting part, is when you get a different athlete that comes and they take what you do and they make it completely different, then it's really cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you. Mahalo.
See ya.
Thanks.